Having standards, having consequences for overstepping boundaries is the masculine way of expressing compassion. Justice is a good thing. It creates fairness and stability. When an environment is too chaotic, children feel anxious and insecure.
Yeah.
It's not clear what
Kids need structure. Kids need boundaries, 100%. Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Christine Grace and today's another reaction video. Guys, like the video on your way in. Let's get straight into it.
I am so emotional and always crying. Like, I literally would like to just blame it on my period, but I'm not even anywhere near getting my period right now. And I'm fucking crying. You wanna know why I'm crying? Because I went to Starbucks. I'm not doing well. Maybe it's just the holidays, the end of the year. I went to Starbucks, and obviously I got myself a coffee, and literally the girl at the window, she didn't do anything like all that special, but just look at me very kindly. She literally just looked at me with the sweetest eyes, and that made me emotional. I was like, in my head, like, oh my god, I hope she continues to be that sweet to people with her eyes. That's it! And she apologized for taking so long to give me my coffee. I was like, oh my god, you don't need to apologize. And like, she just was really nice. I think it's just the holidays. I'm fine. I'm just too
Oh, you don't seem fine.
emotional to be on this planet.
God help me. I love women. I found that clip so endearing. I love how emotional women are. One of my favorite memories with my girlfriend is watching the Pixar movie Up. And if you guys know it, it has like this 10-minute sequence at the start of this couple like falling in love and growing old together. And watching it for the first time, like this kids movie, my girlfriend was just crying so much. We had to pause the movie so I could like comfort her. I know that some men fantasize about a woman who thinks just like they do. You know, it's really like logical, rational, and masculine. Essentially, they want to date like, you know, the mind of one of their best mates, you know, one of their male friends, but just in like a hot woman's body. I have never understood that appeal. I like femininity. I like women's emotions. I think they're beautiful. They bring out a protective quality in me. But knowing that women can be so emotional, we do need to have a serious conversation. Are there some aspects of life that we really shouldn't be trusting to women? Women are often not good at making decisions. They're not good at considering the long-term consequences of the choices that they're making, and they're terrible at applying justice. It's not politically correct to say, I understand that, but a lot of women are just too emotional to do those things well. Now, most of this video is going to be explaining why women are so limited in those areas. But as long-time subscribers know, this is not a channel about bashing women. This is about understanding and appreciating the differences between each gender so that we can cooperate for mutual benefit. So before I talk about the limitations caused by a woman and her emotions, I first want to talk about her strengths. Firstly, being emotional is very useful when it comes to childcare. Children are emotional and women are emotional, so women are able to relate to and comfort those children. Back in my 20s, I worked as a primary school teacher, first in Montessori schools and then in Steiner schools, and one of my first jobs was relief teaching for a classroom of 6 to 9-year-olds. And I remember one boy dropped a pencil from his desk, it fell on the ground, and he just started crying. And I had no idea how to deal with it. I was thinking, what's the big deal? Just pick it up. I didn't say that, but I just couldn't relate to him having this big emotional reaction. I've worked on it. I'm a lot better now. But over the years, watching female teachers in schools, I developed a deep appreciation for just how emotionally attuned they were to the needs of the children. While I was all caught up in like being analytical, like why does the pencil matter? What's bad about the ground? All that stuff. The women, they would ignore all of that. Oh, you're sad? That sucks. I'm so sorry. Here, come here. Let me comfort you. The kid has a few tears. He gets it out of their system and then goes right back to playing. Women can just like plug into their emotions and just empathize and show compassion just like that. Men benefit from that skill. Like if you've had a really shit day at work and you're just tired and pissed off and you want to go home and you complain like, God, my work sucks, my boss is such a prick. With a high quality woman, you don't need to explain it. You don't need to analyze it or justify it. She's just like, oh, you're sad? Here, let me comfort you. That's not difficult for her. She's emotional all the time. For a woman who is in touch with her femininity, it doesn't take much for her to just drop into her emotions and empathize. If you took that same problem to a male friend and you're like, God, my work sucks, I hate my boss, he might spend all this time strategizing with you on how to make things better, what to say to your boss, look at other career options, start plotting out and, calculating finances. I mean, that's 100% necessary. If I want that advice, I'll go to one of my male friends. But a woman's contribution is very valuable too. Sometimes you just want to be emotionally comforted. And a woman's emotional perspective is very important when it comes to mental health, because as men, we don't place enough focus on our own happiness. We don't seem to consider our emotional well-being when we're making plans. When you're thinking in like a really ambitious, linear male way, like, okay, I can work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, and then I'm going to make this much money, which let me buy this much, and I can achieve this much success. Like in a hyper-rational perspective, those are the only factors that you're considering. But then you bring that to your girlfriend, she's like, hey, like that sounds like there's not much work-life balance. Remember how you were just saying you want more time to go fishing, to go camping, to spend time with the kids. I think maybe instead of working 12 hours, you should work 8 hours instead of 5 days a week, just 4 days a week. I know I'm speaking in a hypothetical, like an ideal woman who's not just like, oh yes, make more money for me, but she actually cares about your well-being. But for a quality woman like that, who is well-adjusted, who respects you, who has good values, her emotions can be a nourishing force for your life and for your children's. And the fact that she's keeping an eye out for that side of life is beautiful. It's wonderful. While you're doing your masculine thing, making decisions, making plans, she's got her feminine eye on the emotional state of all of the people in your life, making sure people are happy, that they're well taken care of. It's a very valuable contribution that women make. But now, let's turn to the dark side. Let's not pretend that all of these emotions that women are having is not going to be a serious limitation in other areas. Areas where you, as a man, are going to have to step in and take charge.
Put a finger down if you've ever cried when someone raised their voice at you. Put a finger down if you've ever cried when you saw an animal die in a movie. Put a finger down if you've ever cried because a character died on a show. Put a finger down if you've ever cried while watching a video of soldiers come home to their families. Put a finger down if you've ever cried because you were so stressed. Put a finger down if you've ever cried for absolutely no reason at all. Put a finger down if you've ever cried because of a death of someone that you didn't even know. Put a finger down if you've ever cried from seeing someone else cry.
Again, I love women. I love their emotions. It's very endearing.
Yeah, pretty accurate.
But all of those emotions are going to impose serious limitations on their judgment. Most women are
Like everything, there's pros and cons, and yeah, it can be a lot. And we can make really stupid decisions, and yeah, we need men in our lives to, hone us in sometimes and tell us you're being a woman right now.
terrible when it comes to justice. Now, you need to understand that's not their strength. Women are nurturing. They're good at showing compassion. They see that as their role. When someone is hurt, when someone is a victim, she sees it as her place as a feminine woman to try and alleviate their pain. That's a beautiful thing, but it makes them absolutely terrible at doling out justice. Recently on Hey Hero, somebody sent me this story. He and his girlfriend, they're friends with this other couple, and then one night, the other woman from this couple, she knocks on the door and she's completely crying. Turns out she cheated on her boyfriend. He found out and he kicked her out. Now, as a man, he's thinking about justice. He's thinking, oh my gosh, my male friend got cheated on. I need to reach out to him. Is he okay? We need to get this crying woman out of our house quickly. She's a liar. She's caused all this pain. I don't want to be friends with her. That's his reaction because he's a man. And he couldn't understand why his girlfriend wasn't seeing things the same way. As he sat and watched his girlfriend comforting this woman, it terrified him. She's not criticizing her for the infidelity. She's soft and sweet with her. She's comforting her. She's telling her that it's all okay, that she did nothing wrong.
What do you expect? What do you expect? You cheated. Now you reap what you sow.
Now the man freaks out. He's thinking, what the fuck?
That's not always helpful. Like, I do get it. I get the urge. Like, you see another woman crying. I get the urge to want to comfort them. At the end of the day, like, she's done something wrong. And actually, if she is your friend, then you need to be honest with her and truthful with her and tell her that this is the consequences for her actions. You need to bring her back to reality. Emotions are a great thing, but you've got to be aware of them, and sometimes they can hinder things. And if this is her friend, well, she's actually hindering her friendship with her right now by making her feel like, oh, you've done nothing wrong when she actually has. That's not kind. It's not kind to be that kind of friend, to reinforce bad behavior in your friends.
Woman is not the victim here. And so he pulls his girlfriend to the side and says, what are you doing? Why are you comforting her? We should be supporting him. He's the wronged party here. He's the one who got cheated on. And you know what? In that situation, if she's a decent girl, she will agree with you. She'll acknowledge the logic of what you're saying. She'll understand the justice. But at the same time, her emotional response of seeing her friend in pain is going to be so strong that she can't not act on those emotions. When she sees somebody that she cares about in pain, she feels compelled to nurture them. She's a woman. That's what she's good at, and people like doing what they're good at. That nurturing, that's what she sees as her role. So she's not even thinking about the justice. She's not considering the right or wrong, the moral implications. That's not in her job description. Her role, her responsibilities as she sees it, is to comfort those in pain. Now, that's all well and good. Comfort and compassion are a necessary part of life. But because of that emotional limitation, women are not the ones to look to when it comes to applying justice. You can see this very clearly when it comes to parenting and discipline.
No!
You have to sleep.
No, I want bed.
You're sick.
No, I'm not.
You're sick.
No!
Lay down, be quiet.
Do you see the difference? When dealing with mum, it's about the emotional expression, feeling the feelings, soaking up all of her feminine nurturing and her patience. That's not the case with dad. He comes in and the kid instantly knows the difference. Dad doesn't need to yell, he doesn't need to get violent, nothing like that. But he's firm and he will follow through because his priority is justice. He's a small kid. He's like 3 or 4 years old, but he can tell the difference.
Yeah.
Mum's role is nurturing, compassion, emotions. Dad's role is justice. Now, some mums will criticize this masculine approach with its focus on discipline and boundaries and consequences. They'll say that that's too cold, that's too uncaring. But a high-quality woman will understand that having clear
It's absolutely necessary.
expectations for behavior, having standards, having consequences for overstepping boundaries is the masculine way of expressing compassion. Justice is a good thing. It creates fairness and stability. When an environment is too chaotic, children feel anxious and insecure.
Yeah.
It's not clear what
Kids need structure. Kids need boundaries, 100%. And unfortunately, mothers can't always provide that.
the rules are. Consequences are rarely enforced or they're enforced randomly. Dad understands that that's not good for the child. They put in boundaries and structure not to be cruel, but to show compassion. They're giving children the structure that they need to feel safe, to create an environment with order and structure and rules so that the children know what the limits are so that then they can play safely within those. Most mums totally understand that and they appreciate the role that dad plays. And mums have boundaries too, but it's tough in their position because their primary role is that of nurturer, the one who comforts the child, teaches them to emotionally regulate, to be kind to themselves. Children need both. They need compassion and they need justice, but in mum's role, it can be difficult to know in each situation which one to lean into. This is why so many couples favor a division of roles when it comes to parenting. Dad is there for the discipline and mum is there for the nurturing. That's where that old line, "You wait until your father comes home and I tell him about this," comes from, because mum wants to focus on the role that she's good at, being the compassionate, nurturing one, and she wants dad to take care of the discipline.
We don't yell at mommy. Ever. Do you understand me? Okay. You also slammed the door, didn't you? Okay. Would you have slammed the door if I was home? If I was home, you would have slammed the door. No, you wouldn't have, but do not slam my door. That is my door. That's not your door. That's daddy's door. Do you understand me? So you do not slam my doors. Not in my house. Okay.
Okay.
You will respect mommy more than that, bud. You know what respect is, right? Okay. Being nice, right?
Right.
Okay. You need to be nice to mommy. Because mommy's nice to you. Mommy gives you that respect. So you need to do the same. You do not yell at mommy. You do not slam the doors.
Do you understand that the
That makes my heart full. He's got parenting down. As a good dad right there.
division of roles according to each gender isn't intended to be sexist or discriminatory? No, it comes from an honest accounting of each other's strengths and then focusing on those strengths for each other's benefit. To say that women are better at nurturing and men are better at discipline is not intended to be a criticism. It's intended that we know this about ourselves so that we can better cooperate and help each other. In my course, we saw how that plays out in other areas. For example, women are more focused on the short term. It makes sense, right? Like when your emotions are at the forefront of your experience and you really care about how you feel, you're thinking about what's going on in the short term. When you're weighing tough life decisions, you're most likely to choose the one that makes you feel good right now. It's an understandable impulse, but delayed gratification is actually a really important factor when it comes to long-term happiness, which is why in a lot of couples, the man handles the finances.
Yeah.
It's because he's better at seeing the big picture, thinking in the long term. If he's fulfilling his masculine role, then he's not going to blow all of their money on pointless nonsense and gadgets just for some short-term thrill. He understands that as a couple, if
It's a great indication of how masculine a man is, basically, is how good is he with money? Does he, does he make wise choices about his finances, or is he silly with it? Does he blow it all? It just tells you how masculine a man is.
they're just chasing short-term gratification, they're going to burn through their money way too quickly, and then they're not going to be able to retire. Now, the woman might get pissed off about this occasionally because it seems like her husband is, really cheap or really tight, but deep down she knows that he's handling the finances for their long-term benefit. This is actually one of the reasons why many men are much slower to warm up to the idea of having a baby. Because while she's all caught up in the short-term emotions, she's thinking, oh, but it'll be so cute to have a baby. I just want to cuddle him. He's thinking, okay, yeah, that's all well and good, but my job is to think long-term, like whether we can actually accommodate this in our life. Can we afford it? Can we afford school? Can we live on one income? How is this going to affect our other goals and change our standard of living? Again, I'm not saying that his way of thinking is superior. It's not good to just be so logical that you never stop to smell the roses and just have fun. But somebody needs to have their eye on the long-term goals. They can't afford to be emotional when making those decisions. An honest accounting of the strengths and limitations of a woman's emotional approach to the world naturally leads to a division of labor. It's not based on sexism, it's based on having competence in certain areas, and that's okay. Men and women were meant to team up and cooperate. Now, you might be wondering if what I'm saying has any political implications. Like, Alexander, if you're saying that women are too emotional to dole out justice and think in the long term, should they be serving on juries? Should they be voting in elections? Those are very fiery topics indeed. And last month on my Patreon, somebody made a comment along the lines of women shouldn't be able to vote, and it set off an absolute firestorm of discussion. In the context shared in this video, I thought that it would be a good opportunity for me to share my beliefs on that topic. But I'm always nervous to talk about anything political on this channel because it's very, very triggering. You guys out there, you're very attached to your political beliefs. So I've saved that discussion for the Patreon version of this video.
Damn.
I released here on YouTube, these are just the shortened, abridged versions of my videos. If you want to see the full versions of my videos, come over to Patreon. Specifically for this video, I talk about the political implications of women making decisions emotionally.
Damn it. I really wanted to hear what he had to say. Well, guys, you heard what he said. Head over to his Patreon if you want to hear his opinions on that. God damn it. I really wanted to hear. Listen, it is a very controversial topic, but I won't shy away from the truth. There are a lot of women who definitely shouldn't be in positions of power and should not be on juries because of their inability to think logically. Now, that's not to say that there are exceptions to every rule, and there are women who do think very logically and strategically. And of course, there are women that are intelligent enough to be able to comprehend the abstract. But the truth is, that's not the majority. And I'm not afraid to say it, but hey. That's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you like this video, as always, please do give it a thumbs up on your way out. And be sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all of my videos. And I will see you in the next one.